When people think about going green in home construction, eventually they think about renewable energy sources. Here at the Wisconsin Trend Home, they've implemented renewable energy in the form of solar energy, and they harness the power of sunlight to save energy and money. Jim Funk with Energize, a solar installation company, is going to explain to us how that works. And Jim, first of all, how does someone know if a renewable source is right for them?
If it's right for them, the first thing they need to be thinking about, they're trying to save energy from an environmental or cost standpoint, is get as efficient as they possibly can. Get good appliances, get efficient lighting and so forth, and they'll save money that way. Next thing is, do you have a good site for solar? Do you have a lot of shading? Do you have places on the property that are not shaded? The solar resource is the #1 thing to make sure it's going to work right.
Well, why don't you walk us through the basics and explain how these panels actually generate electricity?
Okay. Each one of these roughly square shapes is an individual solar cell, and the solar cells are converting sunlight directly into electrical energy. Converts it into DC energy. All these cells are connected together to get the voltage up higher to a more useful level, and then we connect multiple modules together to get the voltage up even higher than that to a more efficient level. From there, that DC energy goes through wires to the inverter, which typically is in the basement or wherever the electrical panel is located, and from that point the AC energy is routed into the electrical panel or a separate meter that the utility requires to be installed, and from there it can be used for any electrical load whatsoever.
How much energy do the panels on this particular home generate?
This particular home system would generate approximately 6,500 kilowatt hours per year, and that's in reference to an average home in Wisconsin, and nationally even uses roughly 8,000 to 10,000 kilowatt hours per year, so a very significant chunk of the energy costs.
As we take a look at this house, and it's beautiful by the way, obviously considering design, you were able to put these panels where they look aesthetically pleasing. How hard is it to implement this technology visually in an existing home?
Well, existing homes and structures, that's the main part of our business, actually retrofitting, so we have a lot of experience with that. Each site has its own unique challenges. This particular one was fairly easy because it's rectangular, but some roofs are more complex. They may have different shapes of roofs. You can get different shapes of modules. You can even get triangular modules to match up with triangular roof surfaces. But the roof isn't always the best place or the only place to look at. You can go with a ground or a pole type of a mount. You can also go with an architecturally pleasing, aesthetically pleasing landscape type of a mount and really incorporate it into your whole landscape plan.
Now, if there are some people out here who are considering solar, what are some of the things they need to think about?
Well, that first thing again is the site. Make sure you're putting it in a place that has a good solar resource. Remember, the shadows from different things are going to change, get longer, different times of the day, different times of the year, so put it where it's going to have the best access to the sun. That's #1. Also, you want to make sure that you work with a very good installer, someone who's got a lot of experience, someone who's worked with it for a long time, someone who has national certification, for example, would be one benchmark to have. And another thing that's very important is, as a consumer, is to get as educated as possible, because this is not widespread on a consumer standpoint yet to the point that everyone is doing very well at it or knows all about it. So to learn as much as you can is a very good idea from a consumer standpoint. Allows you to make more informed decisions.
Now, the big question is cost. Is this affordable for our viewers?
Absolutely. It's a little different than how you buy electricity normally. Here you're buying, making some payment up front versus paying every month. But in this particular case, this system was approximately $15,000 after incentives, and that includes here, in this case, a focus on energy incentive from Wisconsin, and then also a federal tax credit.
That's important to tell people, is to really investigate what's available in their area as far as tax or as far as incentives from utility companies, etc.
Absolutely. Each area may have its own on a state level basis, on a utility level basis, and you should get informed as you can on what you can get as a consumer.
Now, Jim, what do you do when the sun's not shining?
That's a very good question. Very often people ask that, and because this system is just connected to the electrical service, it's not powering any specific load really at all. So when it's cloudy, what happens is your loads will draw in energy from the utility just like it always does at nighttime on cloudy periods. And the neat thing is that when you're generating more than what you're consuming, like in the middle of the day you may be doing, then you're actually sending energy back to the utility and getting credit for that on your bill.
Well, great information. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Solar energy is an investment in the environment. If you'd like to learn more about renewable, including solar energy, visit our website at PowerHouseTV.com.